Of course, if you're just joining us, this is the Friday briefing right here on KTN. And if you have been with us earlier, I did promise you a very special guest who is with me in studio. She is Professor Roselyn Aketch. Prof, okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you. So
good
to
see you.
Good to see you too.
And I've looked at your portfolio here, and
yes.
I mean, it's huge, it's big. You are the first Kenyan woman associate professor and chair tourism studies program at Grenfell Campus Memorial University that is in Canada.
Yes, it's in Newfoundland.
The province Newfoundland. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure so many people will ask, how has the journey been for you? First being a woman, then of course being from Africa.
Yes.
And then you were born in Games, yeah?
Yes.
I'm sure it'll be unfair to you to tell you to sum up your journey for us in the next 10 minutes.
Yes.
Perhaps can you tell us some of your highlights and perhaps some of the obstacles you've seen on the way?
Okay, thank you so much for having me. Okay. This is a great opportunity, a tremendous opportunity. My journey has been very interesting because even as I was growing up, I never wanted to be a teacher. So the fact that I'm now a professor, it's really ironical how life can really take someone. And so I developed an interest in academia when I finished my master's. Yes. And I got a job at Mombasa University. And that's where I started my career. And then I proceeded to do my PhD. And so when I completed my PhD, I came back. To give back to my country, to give back to my university and serve in the university. And through the associations and the networks that I have, the opportunity came, the program, the tourism studies program was beginning in my campus, Grenfell campus.
So you're one of the pioneers of that faculty?
I'm one of the pioneers, yes. So that's led to my immigration to Canada. Yeah, and at that time, I just wanted to go for 3 years because the contract then was for 3 years. Yes. So my intention was to just go for 3 years and then I come back. Yeah, but fate, as it were, if I may call it, my then Vice Chancellor denied me leave of absence. So I really had to walk in faith. Yes. Yeah, so he gave me two options. I either stay in Maseno or I quit. So I opted for the latter. I quit because I thought it was... I don't think
so. It's been how many years since you've been a professor in Canada?
Yeah, 10
And
years.
how is your reaction perhaps with the students there? I'm sure as much as they're local students, they're also international students from other countries. Yes. So how has been your relationship with the students there?
It's been challenging because the system of education there is a bit different. Yes. And I must say that it was really by the grace of God that I even got the position because most of the time for you to be employed in a North American institution, you have to have studied there. And none of my degrees are from a North American institution. They are from India and South Africa. So I had to kind of relearn the system so that I know how to be able to effectively teach the students. But my relationship with them has improved, has grown, and they really respect me, and we have a very, very good relationship with my employer and the students at large.
Yes, I'm sure you're one person who has experience from both sides, Mombasa University and these other universities in Canada. Perhaps can you tell us the difference in experience in terms of facility, in terms of how the institutions are? Because we've had a lot of issues with our own academic, our own education system here in Kenya.
Yes, I know. I remember I was part of the strike, in the initial strike when we first wanted a salary hike. And I think the differences that we are having is in terms of pay. When you pay the lecturers well, they don't have time to go and look for other jobs elsewhere, or moonlighting as we call it here. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges, and if we can be able to sort that out, remunerate the lecturers well, then they will stay put and be able to provide quality education. So for example, where I work now, I really don't have time to go to another university to teach. I'm already so overwhelmed with what I'm doing right now. Another thing that is it's a little better is research. They encourage a lot of research. There's a lot of research funds. And so from a research perspective, for you to be able to move upward to the professorship's position, you have to do research.
And research is what is basically missing in most of those institutions.
Yes, because they don't have the time. They are more concentrated on the academic. The cost of living is very high, so they will not have time to do research. But if you are compensated well, you have an environment, a building, a facility, equipment that can be able to facilitate your job to be better, then you can be able to do research as well.
Looking at your faculty, tourism is something that Kenya is very much interested in. And I don't want this conversation to sound too academic, but I'm sure you have some observation or some take homes for the tourism sector back here in Kenya.
Yes,
and I'm sure there are people who might ask, as much as you're now in Canada, you're based there, you live there. Have you maintained contacts with your maybe your fellow professors or lecturers at Maseno University or any other university in Kenya?
Yes, I have, and that's my biggest strength, is that in as much as I left home to go and work somewhere else, my family is still here, I still have friends here, I still have colleagues here, and every year I try to make a trip back to come and maintain that partnership. And I have some of my former students who are now head of departments, even in Maseno University itself. So, you know, I've played that mentorship role, and I still have that relationship with them, that strong bond that we formed. It's moved from a teacher-student relationship to now a colleague. They have their PhDs now, and they're doing very well in that front. So I always try. I never burn bridges from where I come from. This is home for me at the end of the day, you know. So
and of course we have to accept the fact that you have also another home in Canada.
Yes, I have another home.
How is life there, basically?
It's cold. It's very, very cold. If you're somebody who is not a winter bird, Canada is not the place for you, because we have winter 6 months, from November till end of April. It's snowy, it's cold. I see people with sweaters here. They're complaining it's cold. I'm like, you've not seen cold. Yes.
So in terms of culture, have you seen any kind of some sort of culture shock? And I'm sure I see you've traveled a lot to 56 countries.
Yes.
In 3 different continents. You've lived in 6 countries as well.
Yes.
So I'm sure this has developed you as a person a lot.
It has. It's really broadened my perspective on how I look at life, on how I relate to other people. I don't look down upon any other person as different. I embrace diversity. I don't look at life through one lens. We are all different. We are all not the same sizes. We don't all have the same abilities. And so that has really helped me and has really even shaped my career because of my travel and my interactions and my living in different continents and different countries. It really, really broadens your perspective and how you look at life.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think one of the differences, apart from tribes, religion, and everything, is age. There's, of course, the young and the old. And the people who are saying that is the bone of contention, for example, in Kenya's education system.
Yes.
You've seen the strikes. I'm sure you've seen.
Oh, yes, I've seen the strikes.
6 high schools.
Yes.
It also happened back in 2016.
Yes.
One of the issues is that, you know, these children are not treated as, you know, teenagers.
Yes.
There is not proper communication. I think it's something that you want to talk about.
Yes. I'd like to talk about, in Canada, for example, there's a lot of dialogue that goes on in the schools. And kids are prepared even to the university level and the college level. So I think that we need to bridge that gap through dialogue. The times for corporal punishment is over. When you look at when the exam time is over, why are students striking? There's a disconnect there. So I think we need to foster that dialogue, stronger communication.
And I think people fear exam a lot.
People fear exam, yes. But I always tell, if a child can pass a Kenyan exam, you can do it anywhere. Yeah, because I think we have the toughest exams.
Yes.
Yeah.
And apart from being a professor, there's something else you do. Can you perhaps tell our viewers what you do?
Yes.
I'm sure this might surprise a lot of people out there.
Yes. I volunteer at the Bay of Islands Radio.
So you're a radio host?
I'm a radio host, yes.
Interesting.
Yes, I do it myself, get into the studio, do my own mixes, do my own program. It's a devotional program. It's a Christian program.
Yes.
And so that aspect, I try to increase it and try to talk about it through the radio program. And so I work there as a volunteer. But I'm also a coordinator with the Queen Esther's Generation movement in Canada. They have a Canadian chapter. And currently we are having a summit. The founder and the president is Pastor Dr. Esther Obasike. I'm sure many people know her. And so we are having a summit that is running. It started yesterday and it's ending on Sunday. So I wear many hats. Yes.
Clearly, you wear so many hats.
Yes.
Many thanks, Professor Roselyn Aketch.
Yes.
Of course, I'm sure your story has inspired people out there.
Yes.
And of course, that is Professor Roselyn Aketch there talking to me. Of course, she's one of the Kenyans making, of course, a huge impact out there. And she's literally daring abroad, as we've earlier said. And of course, that interview there brings us at least to a very short break. But when we come back here at Friday Briefing, we still have a lot lined up for you, including that result I told you earlier about the ongoing match between Belgium and Brazil. Our sports team are still working on that. Stay there, so we'll be right back.